Hello and welcome to the Becoming Your Highest Self podcast. I'm your host, Macy Renee, and we are going on a journey together, my friend. If you've been looking for a podcast geared towards your growth, self-awareness, navigating your brain's daily mind drama, and deep inner work to become your highest and best self, you are in the perfect place. Let's get started. Good morning. Happy Monday. I'm so excited to have you back for another episode of Becoming Your Highest Self podcast. If you're a longtime listener, thank you so much for joining me again. And if you're brand new, welcome. I am so excited to have you here and so thankful for everyone's support. So let's talk about today's topic, shall we? We're going to talk today about, do you have trouble celebrating other people's wins? Is this you? Has there ever been a time in your life where you find that you want to celebrate other women, or for my guys, you want to celebrate other guys, but something inside of you creeps up that instead makes you feel envious, jealous, annoyed, frustrated? You feel the need to snooze them on Facebook, unfollow, delete, block, all of the things. So let's talk about this, because I think that this is something that comes up quite often for people. And it's something that can feel very icky. Like even for the person that is doing that, it feels icky. Because I think deep down, what we want from a soul level is to support others and feel supported. But what do you do when there's somebody that keeps popping up on your timeline, popping up on your Instagram, or somebody that you know that seems to have win after win after win? They have the body that you desire, they have the money that you desire, they have the time freedom that you desire, and you're thinking, I work 9 to 5 every day. I have, kids that are, throwing juice everywhere and their food's everywhere, and I haven't slept in days, or, my boss is a total jerk and I'm never going to be able to have all of the things, and I just can't look at Sally, whose life is quote unquote perfect all day long, or, she's just faking it because it's social media. Her life can't really be that way, or it's rude to talk about, the wins that she's having in her life, knowing that most people are struggling. Like, be honest with yourself and ask, do you ever get this way? I will be honest in telling you that I have had these experiences in my life in the past. I used to have a very hard time celebrating other people. And where mine came up was, it was hard for me to celebrate other people who I thought should be doing things differently, like the way that I was doing things. So I'm going to tell you a sneaky way that this came up for me, and when I realized that I really wanted a significant change in my life. So I used to be in a relationship marketing company that I absolutely loved. And like many relationship marketing companies, you're going to have some that you consider competitors, where you sell similar products and you think yours is the best and the people in the other company think theirs is the best. And maybe you're looking at compensation plans and your compensation plan seems to be better and they're with a crappier compensation plan or whatever. So I was in this company where our compensation plan was really, really great. And we had a competing company that their compensation plan wasn't so great. And I found myself many times having a snarky kind of nose in the air attitude about anybody who was with this competing company, or anybody that was with other companies in general, because I felt like I was a part of the best one, and that people were absolutely crazy not to want to join the opportunity with me and, be on our amazing, loving, bubbly team and have a compensation plan that really allowed and afforded you amazing things. And when I was in it, it didn't feel like a bad thing. I felt like I was coming from a very genuine place. I wanted what was best for everyone. And so what I found is that when other people were representing their company and saying that it was the best, I had this very strong internal eye roll of like, they just don't know what they don't know, or they're so obnoxious thinking that, they're ever going to make it at the top, knowing their compensation plan is trash and there's an easier way, there's a better way, there's better products, and ours is that, So I could find myself at times being very nasty. And I actually went to a retreat in 2016 with my coach and several other women. And a few of the women were with this competing company. And I remember getting into a little bit of a snarl with one of them because they were talking about their products and how they're the best on the market and they're number one and blah, blah, blah. And we had some of those accolades as well. And so I was giving it right back like, well, we blah, blah, blah. And I remember having this sneaky thought that came up that I wasn't proud of. And I'm just going to be vulnerable and say it to you guys because we keep it real on my podcast. That I had this twinge of like, she is so snobby, I hope she never hits blah, blah goal. Like, just so it's rubbed in her face. And when I noticed that thought come up, I was not proud of it. Now, keep in mind that when I had this thought, I had 2 years of personal development and had only been in coaching maybe 2 months. So my brain was nowhere near managed the way that it is now. The person that I was when this was going down was a completely different Macy than who I am now. But I did have enough awareness after I had that thought to know that when I think of my highest self, that I did not like the way that I felt. And so this retreat continued and we had a lot of like breakout coaching sessions. And in one of these sessions, this person that I had kind of had this weird, debacle with over our competing companies had this very vulnerable moment where she was coached extremely hard. And for the first time, I felt like I really got to see her and see her heart and who she was without the persona of everything being perfect in business and perfect in life. I was actually able to see her. And at that time in my life, I wasn't willing to let anybody see my yuck, right? The stuff that was going on in my personal life behind closed doors. I really felt protected in that people see what they see for me in person is what they see on social media, which was this persona of everything's great and everything's perfect and everything's easy and I'm always happy, even though internally that wasn't the case. And so when she had this huge breakdown after I had interacted with her and felt internally, because I'm very intuitive, I had felt like she had a huge wall up and she could probably fill a huge wall with me. And I think that's part of what made our relationship butt heads a little bit because we were both defending something that we really loved and believed in. But when I saw her open up and be completely honest and open, I realized in that moment, this is not my enemy and I don't want to be the woman that cannot celebrate other women and what they're choosing to do with their life and what is best for their life or what they even think is best for their life. And I left that retreat and I remember talking to my best friend on the way home and I said, I witnessed in me this weekend that I have this ugliness where I'm seeing this piece of me, like this inner child piece in me that is afraid to celebrate other women because I think it makes me feel less than, or I feel like I need to be better. And if I'm celebrating them, that they're going to think that they're better. It was like this really weird dynamic. And when I was honest with myself about how I was feeling, like it's really hard for me to think about, it was hard for me to think about celebrating her. I turned to my friend and I said, I realized after this weekend, I don't want to be this woman. I'm done with being this woman. I want to be the woman that even though she's technically a competitor, that if she needed one final order to hit this mega goal that she had expressed that she was running for, instead of being like, oh, well, hope you get it, and have this spiteful attitude internally, I wanted to authentically feel like, girl, give me your link. I want to order it. I want to support you, and I want to see you win. And it was really the first time in my life where I was able to see that I had this it's like our inner adolescent, and what I've talked about in previous episodes, that comes in to protect us and wants to be liked, wants to be loved, wants to be the best. It's our ego self. And so that's where this comes from, you guys. If you're watching people on your social media and maybe you know that they're a nice person, but there's something about them that irks your ever-loving nerves, and you want to hate them and you want to not follow them because you get triggered by the things that they do, the things that they say, the accomplishments that they celebrate, the money that they're sharing that they're making. If that is you, I want you to know that give yourself some grace, because I think that a lot more people experience this than they'll admit to. But it comes from our ego, and our ego comes in as a way to protect us and to separate. It makes us higher than someone else or lower than someone else. Like either we feel above someone else or we feel below someone else. It's the degree of separation. So the ego comes in as a way to protect and measure, am I better than this person? Am I worse than this person? I'm no good. I suck at life. Like that's what ego does. So whether you're feeling less than or you're feeling above someone, either way, that is the ego coming in as a protective mechanism to protect you. And it's often coming from our inner teenager, our inner adolescent that's just like, I want to be the one that's liked. I want to be the one that's loved. I need validation. I need external validation. I need to know that I am the best one. And it makes us do ugly things. It makes us argue with people. It makes us feel different than people. It makes it hard to celebrate other people. And where it also comes from a lot of times is this internal piece of our soul that knows that the results we're seeing for someone else are possible for us, or that what they are living in their life is desirable to us. But there's something in our mind that feels that we can't have it, that we're not worthy of it, or that we'll never obtain it. So if you feel like you're never going to get it, or you're not worthy of it, or that it's impossible for you to live the same life, even though somewhere inside of you, you desire it, when you can't see the clear path to get it, it will make you feel and think and do sometimes hateful things that are outside of your character, your soul character. Because we get triggered by the things that are messages for us to explore. So an emotion will come up when we see this out of someone. And instead of being like, wow, they inspire me, or wow, that's available to me, or wow, if they can do it, I can do it, or wow, who even knew that was possible? A lot of times our inner adolescent, our inner teenager goes, well, that's just because she was born into money, or well, she didn't have the childhood trauma that I experienced in my life, or he, he always gets everything that he wants and he's a jerk, or, well, he had way more opportunities than I've ever had, or we take ourselves out of the playing field. And while there are situations where our privilege can be different and where our opportunities can be different, there are a lot of things that are available to us because we are divinely connected and worthy of it, but we take ourselves out of that opportunity by noticing all of the reasons why we think we can't have it. And if it doesn't feel easy for us to get it, our brain always looks for comfort, and if it thinks that it's going to be too hard, too difficult, too long of a journey, or we don't trust ourselves to actually follow through, which we kind of touched on last week, then we take ourselves out of the game, and it's much easier to blame them and hate on them and have our ego lead the way of, I'm going to snooze them, unfollow them, block them, delete them, not look at them, like they trigger me so much, when really that trigger is an opportunity for you to see something that you desire, something that's inspiring to you, something that you want, something that your soul knows you are capable of. And when it figures that out, if you can look at it as a way to inspire you to be like, wow, they are setting the example of what's possible, or they're teaching me what's available to me when I get out of my own way, when I start to manage my own mind, when I start to manage my own emotions, then you can get to a place where you are creating that for yourself. And it may not look exactly like them depending on the dynamics that you're in. But what this comes down to is that you can create whatever it is that you want. You're the creator of your life. Your thoughts create your emotions, and your emotions become energy in motion. And that's what is the signal that gets sent out to the world and returned back to us like a mirror of exactly what we're doing. What you're living in your life right now, what you're seeing in your life right now, the results that you're getting in your life right now. You're creating every moment of every second of every day. You are creating. You're manifesting. You're getting exactly what you're creating. And a lot of us are creating from a subconscious pattern. So if your subconscious patterns are shitty, then you're going to see a lot of crap in your life that you're not happy with. But if your subconscious patterns are very like joyful, inspired, happy, grateful, a lot of great emotion and a lot of good thoughts and thoughts that are serving you, if that's what's in your subconscious patterns, then you're going to be living a completely different life than the person who is tearing down other people or, taking themselves out of the equation, feeling like it's not possible for them, having limiting beliefs, having negative emotion when they see somebody that's inspiring. One of the things that still makes me laugh to this day is one of my very best friends she is like my soul sister. We became friends whenever I was in my relationship marketing company. And, it's funny because we went to high school together for 4 years, had classes together, never spoke a single word to each other. Not because we didn't like each other then or anything. We just never talked. I don't know why, but we just never, ever had a conversation. Never a hello, never a goodbye, nothing. I don't know why. It's so weird. But in college, we graduated college, and then I was in this relationship marketing company. I had reached out to her several times. She was not interested in doing it. And then something changed within that year, and she decided, to let me come over and present my product. And she told me later the reason that she did was because she had just bought a new house and she was so proud of her house. And, we were really young whenever they had a really nice house that she had worked her butt off for, as well as her husband. And, so she was excited to show it off. So that's why she let me in her house. But one of the things that we laugh about is that she ended up joining the relationship marketing company, and that's when we were both getting into personal development. And then whenever I got into coaching, it was a few months later, I introduced her to coaching. And who we both are now compared to who we were even 4 years ago, we laugh all the time. We were completely different people. But one of the things that she was honest about, I love her honesty. She was like, I have a confession. And my confession is that I unfollowed you from Facebook because you were so positive all the time. It got on my nerves. And she said, and now I realize in doing personal development and having a coach that the reason that you triggered me so badly and the reason I couldn't even bring myself to look at your post or read your inspiring stuff was because I was so miserable and angry and defeated and tired in my own life. It was very hard to see someone that was happy and inspired and feeling joy and doing all of these amazing things. It was just really hard for me to see in the state of mind that I was in. And so I unfollowed you because I couldn't look at it. And she said, and then one day I got curious and I started following you again. And I started thinking, I really want to be her friend. She's just such a positive person. I need that in my life, and I want her to be my best friend. And I seriously think that her desire of changing from I absolutely hate her and I cannot stand her and I'm going to unfollow her because she's way too positive to I want her to be my best friend. I seriously think that she manifested that. Because she was like, I thought about it all the time. And sure enough, we became best friends and are still best friends. And she is like the person that helps coach me. And she's the person I go to where I'm like, I either just need friend advice or I need coaching advice. And she's so wonderful for that. And I just love her so much. But it's kind of funny to think about, but I have had those same experiences in my life where I have wanted to delete people that I followed because their life agitates me so much. And if I'm honest with myself, the reason that their life has agitated me so much was simply because I wanted what they had. I wanted the time freedom. I wanted the financial freedom. I wanted to create my own schedule. I wanted time to wake up and do all of these amazing things. I wanted to have fancy dinners and occasional pops of, champagne brought out to the table. And I wanted to not have to worry about money all the time. And I wanted people to be inspired by things that I was saying. And I wanted to feel brave enough to have a podcast or to do Facebook Live. It was like they annoyed me because they were doing things that deep down in my soul, I knew I was capable of. I knew that I could do it. But in the moment, I didn't see how it was possible. I didn't know how to get from point A to point B. And sometimes when you're in that state of confusion of I don't know what to do and I don't know how to get from point A to point B, it brings out our ego and we start comparing ourselves and separating ourselves from the people that have the very thing that we want instead of coming closer to them and being like, they're a mentor for me, a guide for me, a light for me to learn and grow and evolve, and I should connect with them and be in their energy and their vibe so that they're teaching me how to do that, whether I'm taking on their free content or I'm reading their post or, I'm learning and growing from them. A lot of times what we do is we think we're so far away from that being available to us that we take ourselves out of their energy, and they're the power source that can help you grow and evolve into the very person that your soul knows that you're capable of. So I wanted to talk about this episode because I want you to think about if you've ever done this or if you're even currently doing this, and give yourself some grace and know that you can talk to yourself and say, that's just my ego and it's okay. And I can go refollow the people that maybe I've unfollowed, or I can go find people that inspire me, people whose energy feels good to me. And when they post something that triggers me, instead of saying I'm separate from them and I can't have it, to I absolutely know that I'm capable of it, I just don't see the way yet, or I'm inspired by what they're doing, and learn how to be a woman or a man that celebrates another man or woman. That is something that's very important to me. Now, even with all of my growth, there are sometimes levels of things that I see from my mentors that give me a little twinge of like, oh my gosh, I want that for myself. And I wish that I had that for myself, and having this moment of just like, oh gosh. But at the same time, what I also recognize is how much I've grown, because I want to celebrate those mentors. I want to celebrate them in everything they're doing. And then I draw myself closer up into their energy. And instead of thinking like I need to learn it all on my own, or I need to do it by myself in order to feel validated or worthy, like knowing that I can learn from these people that inspire me so much, and you can as well. So if you're ever feeling triggered, if you're ever feeling like your mean girl is coming out and you just want to talk badly about another woman, ask yourself, is that who you really want to be? Because when I recognized this in me 4 years ago, 2 months into coaching, I realized that's not my highest self. That is not who I desire to be at my highest level. I want to celebrate every woman and every venture that they take, every single thing that they do, even when it's different than my path, even when I don't understand it, even when it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't need to, because it's not my life. I want to be cheering on every single woman in their adventure of growing, evolving, shifting, changing, doing the scary things, because that is what we need to be doing. That's what's going to bring us together as a collective. It's ego that separates us. It's politics, right? Politics has a lot of ego in it. Religion a lot of times can have a lot of ego in it. So the more that we become self-aware of ourselves and begin working on ourselves and focus in on, I'm going to become the highest version of myself, that allows us to bring in a level of connectedness to other people, grace, love, compassion, all of the good things that we need in order to come together and really build a life of more connection, love, and all of the happy, lovey, fuzzy things. If we're going to be mean to each other and tear each other down and compare and despair and let our limiting beliefs get in the way, we're going to feel more and more division. And I think in 2020, we felt a lot of that. We don't need any more of that. So how can you elevate and become the best and highest version of yourself and recognize maybe these inner mean girl traits that sneakily show up, and begin working on it so that way you can go create exactly what you want and do it from a place of love, joy, gratitude, connection, and all of the amazing things, because you're worthy of that and you're not exempt from any of that. It's available to you as soon as you choose it. Love you all, and I will talk to you next week. Hey girl, did you know there's a place for you to continue this work outside of the podcast? Well, there is, and it's called Becoming Her. This is my online and ongoing coaching container for self-mastery. Everything takes place online and is the best value for your investment if you're wanting to work with me. This is for women that want to create lasting change by learning how to master themselves, their energy, their mindset, and how to do the deep inner work. It's a growing community where you're supported for life, with live online trainings, access to all previously recorded content, and 2 one-on-one coaching calls with me per month. It's an investment where you can rest assured you'll have everything you need at your fingertips, and where there's one primary goal: becoming your highest self. If this has been something you're looking for, join us and be a part of the growth. You can find out more information on MacyRenee.com.